my fucking probation officer, like, switches, right? Like, literally, like, whatever it was, like, somebody quit or rotated shit, or who fucking knows? All of a sudden, this bitch, that's what she was, a bitch, fucking violates me. I was just basically telling Gail stories. She was always going to college or a waitress, and then all of a sudden she turned into a stripper. And that was pretty much the end of Gail. Her being a naturopath ended with her being a stripper. I mean, I've met girls that have taken that stripping and been real smart about it and got themselves taken care of, but those are minority, big time. Yeah, we went from her dorm room to the closet to a house. We got this house. The house doesn't even exist anymore. The house is now a turnaround where the Max Portland Light Rail, Max train, turns around, parks right where that house used to be. They bought it out, covered it up. That house was owned by this guy that lived next door, or by his son rather. Really old dude, and another son lived there. Probably lived there since the 40s or something. I mean, he was an old dude. In that place, we had cats. I think we named him Resin. She had a cat that fetched Tigger. And then we got that other cat. That was like kind of my cat, but when I went to prison, you know, she kept it. She sent me pictures of it. I have a picture of it. And it was like a 2-bedroom house. It was a 2-bedroom house. It was a 2-bedroom house that had like 2 living rooms. Like outside of the 1 bedroom, you had the entryway living room, which there was an entryway, and then a living room area, and then like an arch that separated another living room area, and then the kitchen was in the back, and then behind the kitchen was like a little breakfast nook, and then it had a basement downstairs. I mean, it was a nice little house, right downtown Portland, literally right downtown. So in that front room, I used to watch on just regular TV on the weekends, like public broadcasting. I would watch this gardening show. The things I learned from this gardening show were fucking amazing. So one episode, I learned all about all these plants. What they did really well was taking chemicals out of the air, making fresh, really good air, right? Another episode was how there's certain parts on your face, so if you're breaking out like in one spot of your face, it's actually tied to some internal organ type place. And I totally got validation in this in prison when I was forced to eat a lot of hydrogenated oil, and I broke out in this same little region on the sides of my face, which I'm sure were tied to some part of my body that was getting taxed by having to process that shit. Unprocessable shit. 7 years it takes to pass that stuff out of your body. I also learned about permaculture for the first time. And what I took away from it was this, like, oh man, you build a stream, and then or you have a stream, and then you plant this kind of plant here and this kind of plant here. And this is how I would describe this for years. I mean, even like right when I got out of prison, I was working for a landscape company, and there's this huge piece of land for sale. And I would just imagine turning that piece of land into a place that did this thing that I didn't even know the name, which is permaculture, and turning it into a whole permaculture college, you know? I spend a lot of my time like thinking projects, like just, you know, like, I'll see a building that's for sale, and in the rest of my drive I'll build a business that works in that building, right? And I just do that as like a hobby almost, like brain exercises. At one point when I was living in this house with Gail, and we fought, mainly when she drank. that was pretty much, she drank, we fought. And mainly it was just like fucking yelling and screaming, and, you know, there was no like violence or anything like that. Until, I think I moved out at one point, but then I moved back, but then like while I was moved out, she invited her friend, her pretty hot friend from North Dakota, to move in with her. Okay, so she comes all the way over high on meth with some fucking dude that's expecting who knows what, like some payment or some fucking, like who knows what, I don't know. It was super weird, right? And I had just like gotten back together with her again right before they showed up, and it was super weird. And Gail just got fucking trash drunk, because every time something was super weird, she would start drinking, and then it was just like, and she would just do shit, and then the next day she wouldn't know. So I was fucking pissed off that you know, there's these people and they're obviously tweaking, and she's fucking, you know, drunk as fuck. So what I do is I had just bought all this food. We used to love to cook, and we'd cook like, I was a vegetarian back then, and we cooked like big lasagnas or big bean casseroles or big pasta dishes, all this kind of stuff. So I just bought all this stuff. So I took all these cans out of the cupboard, and I was opening them up, just leaving them on the counter. So there would be like 10 cans. It's like, so when she woke up the next day, she'd be like, why the fuck is all this fucking food opened up, right? That was my whole intent, was just to open a bunch of cans, leave them open on the counter, and leave. Well, while I'm opening the cans, she jumps on my back. I toss her off my back. She hits the floor, and I'm just picturing her now. I'll never forget her, because she was like, I thought she might have been dead, because her eyes were open, and she was just laying there like, and I was so pissed that she fucking brought this fucking thing to this, like, that I just fucking knocked all those fucking cans onto the floor, just made a huge mess, and just left, right? I feel horrible about it, but literally like, fuck, man, you know? Jump on somebody's back. You never know what's gonna happen to you. And no, was that the end of Gail's and I's relationship? Fuck no. Like beating a dead horse. All my friends didn't like her because it was always her drinking and being drunk, and then like saying stupid shit and like pissing people off. Like we were like having a little after hour, or not even an after hour, we were having like a little party, like there was some kind of fucking party, and then it moved to our house, and this was like an elite group of really hip people, super cool, super nice people. She just pipes up in the middle, if I don't know your name, you gotta get out of my house. You know, just shit like that. And it was 100% the drinking. She commented me when she waited on me years later. She said, I don't drink anymore. It's probably a good thing. At one point, I was on this probation and I was dealing with all this shit. Things were going okay, except for probably the relationship with Gail. My fucking probation officer like switches, right? Like literally, like whatever it was, like somebody quit or rotated shit, or who fucking knows. All of a sudden this bitch, that's what she was, a bitch, fucking violates me. Like, what the fuck? I've done everything, you know. So I go to trial. Like, I'm going to trial on this. I'm my own lawyer. I put her on the witness stand. I bought a bunch of little glass trinkets that weren't pipes, right? So I like also made, sometimes I'd make little little open face nug jars, but you know, whatever. And or make perfume bottles, Christmas ornaments. Boy, I could have had a Christmas ornament empire. Probably still could. I don't know if it's it's probably India's probably doing it. So I took this stuff into the courtroom, and I literally cross-examined my probation officer, made her say everything that I wanted her to say. I mean, I just totally fronted her off for being in a... And I don't really remember how Gail came up into it, but Gail even came up into it. Something about Gail's drinking came up in court. Yeah, that was a big win, though. I mean, I literally was facing like days in jail on a violation, and I went in there and just fucking kicked ass. So they had made me wait until the end, because my name put me at the front. As soon as I came up there with a big handful of glass and started putting stuff out on the table, the judge was like, bailiff or somebody, go get those things, and you go sit back down and put those into evidence, and then, blah, blah, blah. Well, the only other people, although people were waiting, they'd go sit back down. They were free to leave. Well, they brought in all the guys from the fucking jail, so they're all sitting in there when I'm doing my trial, right? The fucking courtroom breaks into applause when the judge fucking read his determination. The fucking DA looks over at me, says my last name, and goes, "Good job." I mean, it was fucking surreal. I just hammered these people at their... I mean, I shouldn't even have been there. Literally, I don't know what this fucking lady's problem was. She was a fucking lunatic bitch that just literally fucking took over my case and then violated me for what reason? Nobody was really clear on that. The system is so fucking broken. Period.